And I'll tell you what, breaks my heart. I see great products, great people, and really sad pitches.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Behind the Boom podcast. I have such an extraordinary guest on here with me today. She has sold over $2.5 billion worth of products, billion, not million. She's hosted over 197 national infomercials, appeared on QVC, HSN, ESPN. I mean, she's coached over 100,000 entrepreneurs. She's the creator of the Spingent, It Will Exhaust You. This product sold over 1.5 million freaking dollars in a single day, you guys. She is a two-time TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and National Fitness Hall of Fame inductee, the woman in the industry that calls the undisputed, not UFC, queen of pitch. I have Dr. Forbes Riley. How was that, Dr. Forbes?
I want to record that and wake up to that intro every morning, Amber. That was so nice.
I get that a lot. Well, thank you so much. And we are going to keep it quick. I always do about a 20 to 30 minute interview. And I'm just so honored to have you on here. You know, my expertise is branding and really taking people in and showing them that they have so much more to give and making sure that everyone else knows that the beauty and the expertise that they have. And I'm so honored to have you on here. I've got a list of questions, but before I do that, you know, people always see somebody and they see the stardom and they see all the money and all the great things, but you did not come from that. I know your story. So can you, in a nutshell, give us where that started? Because I think that sets the pace for people. They need to know.
Oh, I grew up on Long Island talking like this in a very small little family with my second generation immigrant parents. And the story goes that my parents were not big dreamers. My mom was overweight her whole life and she was an only child. My dad was an inventor and a magician and a very quiet human being, but he loved to tinker. And so, but they loved their kids. They loved me and my sister very much. But when I went off to elementary school, they noticed that my teeth went in all different directions. And so badly that they put me in braces, which is not a bad thing if you're a kid, right? For a year or two. 8 years of my life, I had full silver headgear, rubber bands. And for 2 years when I was really little, I had a tongue thruster screwed to the roof of my mouth. So I ended up talking like that. And so for 2 years, nobody could understand a single word that I said. And as I got into my career, and I would do a lot of things, I was an actress, I've done soap operas and Broadway and movies, and I also hosted. I hosted the Laugh Factory in Los Angeles, and I hosted ESPN's X Games. And people would always say to me, they get frustrated going, well, Forbes, you do so many things. I said, no, I'm just communicating. It doesn't matter what I was doing. And it didn't dawn on me until I became a speaker a little later in my life, why I was doing what I was doing. And I'm wildly committed to it. And then along the way, because I also had this need to prove myself, mostly to my parents,
Right.
It really drove me that I just wanted to make a difference in this world. I wanted to matter to other people, but most I wanted to matter to myself. And I ended up pitching. I ended up in infomercials, which is I ended up pioneering that industry. It didn't exist when I got there. Jake of Body by Jake found me at an audition about to sell me this pen. And it launched us selling fitness products for 5 years on a little network called the Cable Health Club. And it ended up selling to Fox for $500 million. And at that time, I ran into Jack LaLanne, who was doing an infomercial with a famous actress. It wasn't working. And they said, can you help me craft the pitch? I did, and that became $1 billion success. The next thing you know, I now have a book about pitching, which I've been teaching, by the way, for many, many years. But I really solidified since COVID hit. I created a company with my daughter. My daughter is now 23 years old. And for the last 6 years, we have worked literally side by side, joined at the hip, created a very large multi-international team, over 107,000 students. And I really solidified what I mean by pitching. Turns out that my ear doesn't hear things the way other people's does. And it's helped a lot of entrepreneurs, where you'll do the branding and maybe that part of it. I get your communication wired in, because if you can't, you requested me to be on your show. You didn't pay me to be here. So that was not a sales pitch, but it was a pitch. And now that people are understanding, especially moms, how to pitch your spouse to clean the house, how to pitch your kids to clean their room or do whatever it is that you want them to do, it's all about getting a yes.
Right. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this. Tell everybody the name of your book for those who aren't physically watching.
I'm so excited. It's called Pitch Secrets A to Z, How to Increase Your Influence, Impact, and Income. And the best part about this pitch, it literally is 26 chapters, 26 letters, and it's not a sales book. The first chapter is attitude. The second one is belief. but through my eyes. The other thing I want to share with everyone is all my celebrity friends are in here. Now it's coming out in color. This is the black and white version, but I am the least famous person in my book. I have Kim Kardashian and I have Wolfgang Puck and Montel Williams and Richard Simmons and Tony Little and photos of everyone I'd worked with. And it was fun to put this together because only I knew that I did this. You know,
Right.
it's so funny because fame is a funny little thing. I've been doing what I've been doing my whole entire life. And 3 weeks ago, School of Hard Knocks did a little 1 minute interview with me outside of a valet hotel by accident.
I see
And
them.
14 million people saw it on TikTok and another 12 million saw it on Instagram. And all of a sudden, everything I've ever done has become like a magnifying glass. And I
Right.
think the thing that, Amber, makes my heart sing is you don't come up to me going, "Oh, Forbes, I saw you in a movie, you were great." No, I learned this from you, Forbes, by watching this. There's over 7,000 comments on each of those posts. And it's people saying, "Oh my God, thank you for sharing. I didn't know you existed. This is so exciting."
So much more powerful, right?
They are the best comments I've ever gotten in my life.
I, I mean, what would be one word that you could separate a pitch that actually converts from a pitch that just sounds good? Like, what's the difference between just a sounding good pitch to something that actually converts? Like you said, sell me this pen.
Okay, if I could teach it that fast, then I wouldn't be teaching trainings. I've got a
True.
4 week training I do. Well, I've got a training I do called Pitch Like a Pro because I created a formula. And to your point, there are actionable, specific things that I will walk everybody through, and most people miss almost all of them. And now I host a lot of TV shows and pitch concepts like 60-Day Hustle and 2 Minute Drill. And I'll tell you what, breaks my heart. I see great products, great people, and really sad pitches. And it comes from my dad. My dad, I remember sitting in his garage when I was a little girl. He was tinkering with things. He used to build the most crazy things, but we loved them. And he said to me, "Kiddo, how do I get my ideas out to the world?" And I remember looking up at him going, "Dad, I have no idea. I'm 8." And when he died, though, Amber, all of his ideas died with him and they all got thrown in the trash because they don't mean anything when you're gone. So I stress to people that goofy idea that you're not doing, guys, if you don't do it while you're on this side of the dirt, when you're gone, it's over.
Yeah, it's so
So
true.
it's okay to fail. But one
Yep.
of the big things, because failure, by the way, and this is, I encourage people to do this, to fail, to experience that, and then to learn the lesson.
Right.
Because now some people don't learn the lesson, by the way. They just fail and it's really sad, and that would be a waste. But you don't always learn by winning because you don't know what it was that made you successful. So
No.
one of the things I'm going to urge all your listeners, when you've got a great idea, stop telling people they need to do it, get them to want to do it. And so if I literally dumb that down a little bit, how do your kids don't need to clean their room. You need to clean your room. No, but how can you get them to want? You know what the secret is? Find out what they want. I call this assumptions and I call it a question flip. So my kids like chocolate chip cookies for dessert baked in the oven and they like playtime with mommy. So all I have to do is question flip it and go, "Hey guys, I can smell cookies in the oven. Doesn't that smell good?" Yes. You get a yes. You get 3 of those and you got a credit card or you got someone taking action. That's 1 yes.
And
How
a
about
clean room.
right? How about no? How about I play with you after we have some dessert? No phone. That's a yes. Go, you guys want to do that? Okay, everybody, yes. By the time they're shaking their heads, I'm like, all I want to see is you clean your room, floor spotless, and all that's yours. Ready, go. There's no yelling. There's no screaming. There's just action.
Oh my gosh. Just that alone is gold for me because my kids don't clean their room. It's bribe. I've tried money jars, but then I can't keep the consistency up of putting the money in, taking the money out.
Well, but what do they want? They want something. Kids always want something. They want a dessert. They want time with you. They want whatever it is they want. Make
Right.
that a trade. And by the way, pitching is a skill. The more that you do this, the more that you request things and you get yeses, you get very good at this. And by the way, that's what's in here. And if you get to chapter N, I don't know if you guys have studied NLP, but the reason that magic trick work, and the reason I love, in my next course, I'm teaching literally how to do a magic trick and perform it in public. Why would you need to do that? Well, my daughter was raised doing that with me because that's her grandfather, it's his legacy. And so from a little girl, I would make her do these on stage. Like we would go to, Club Meds or All Inclusive. They go, "Hey, talent show." And I'd always push her to do a magic trick. Well, you have to speak when you do magic. You have to, because it's not just, "Oh, look, there's a card." No, it's, "Oh my gosh, what if I told you that this princess was walking down the hill and she found a magic this?" And when you craft that, it's oddly like pitching. You're taking someone on a journey so that they have a really cool conclusion. When you're pitching, you want a yes. When you're selling, you want the money. But in magic, you want them to suspend their belief. And if you can do that, I promise you can pitch.
Oh, I love this because I think a lot of people, they think of selling and then they overthink and they think they have to have this whole script together and it just doesn't come out naturally. It sounds like they're just trying to sell. That's the problem. I know when something is scripted. I know when I script something, it never comes out the same. The questions I have listed here, it's way better if I just come up with it on top of my head versus trying to just ask a generic question. You know,
Well, no, let me reframe this. This is where
yeah.
the formula comes in. There's no guesswork in what I'm doing. So if I were to ask you and I'm at a party, hey Amber, what do you do? What do you say?
I say I'm a brand expert and I help take founders to that next level so that what they have to show in real life, whether they're an expert in their field, in their practice, I want to make sure that that showcases online and their social presence matches their expertise.
I love you, but I stopped listening halfway through that. No, I did because halfway through I concluded it wasn't directed at me, that you
Right.
were generically talking, and then you kept, and I don't mean this to be rude,
No,
but
but
without
pitch,
it,
help me
but then
pitch.
you,
Give me a
but
pitch.
then you kept on talking. So, but you see, here's the problem. You've got thousands of people listening to you right now on a podcast, and you're talking to Forbes Riley. Why did you pretend it was like something else? Well, I help those people. I help. Hey, Forbes, you know what? Where did you come from, by the way? What did you do before this?
Before building this business, I was in network marketing. So
Okay,
I built a multi six-figure brand, in the network marketing,
what's one thing that you learned from network marketing?
how to talk to people and not be afraid.
Okay, so Forbes, as somebody who crushed in network marketing to the tunes of six figures, I now take entrepreneurs like you and people who are listening who are looking to go to their next level. And I concluded that if I can wash the brand concept that I've created over you, you'll generate more money easily.
I'm so glad this is recorded.
But see how much that, but I took you on a journey. The
Yeah.
conclusion is and all you want when you do this properly, guys, is yes, I want to know more. You get that. See, when you had talked, it was like, okay, that's
Mhm.
great, good for you. But it's not a yes, I want to know more because
Yeah.
that's where, so we all have this vision that when someone asks you, what do you do? They care. They don't. They
They don't care.
technically
Yeah.
care what you can do for them
For
in
them.
that moment.
Right.
So when you start, and that's what it takes practice. I will tell you, I tell people this and they still want to go back to their old ways. The second thing that I want to talk about is what's the biggest problem that your customer currently suffers from?
I have a lot of clients who make hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, doesn't matter. They're financially free. They build practices, so they're successful. They have the credibility, but they've done it in a practice, doctors, lawyers, dentists. Online, they're nobody. So there's nobody knows who they are. So trying to
Okay, so
bring that
again,
online presence to match.
all right. So again, it's an interesting thing because I just conducted this. I had a class yesterday of 600 people, by the way. I am taking a large number of people through this journey every week. One of the things that I'm hearing is you talking about them. When I ask the biggest, because if you can't flip it, if you can't let them know what the biggest problem. So the biggest problem you have is that you're successful. I got it. You're financially free. That's excellent. But you want more out of life. You want to be known. You want your message to reach a larger audience. I have a mechanism to make that happen.
Right.
Oh, okay. So now your product, your service becomes a solution, but you've got to remind them they have a problem.
Right.
And most people, when they get to talk about their product, just want to talk about the product. Hi, I have a book here. You should read the book.
Right.
No, nobody, who cares if we're reading the book? What I am going to tell you is that tucked inside of this book, right here at this chapter, see where that little TV is? There's a QR code. That's worth thousands of dollars of free prizes, information, and an invite to an exclusive only party. It's in the book. You want it? And then you
Absolutely.
leave it at that. You're like, oh, wait, I want that book. Because same thing with book titles, book covers. People say you don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Yes, you do. That's what's so
100%.
ironic
What's going
about
to
it.
make you pick it up? Right.
Yeah, you look at it and go, is that something that's interesting to me? And then when you turn it over, we just changed the back of the cover. It now says, warning, this book will result in you making sales. I've yet to, as soon as I show that to somebody, like, okay, I want it. Because we're giving people what they want. Okay, so here's a great, Amber had a chance to see my fitness product. It's called a spin gym. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is or why it works at all. You know what I'm going to ask you? I'm not even going to show it to you. I'm going to say the first thing. Hey, Amber, you want to see something cool?
Yes.
I knew I was going to get a yes. Isn't that funny? The next thing I'm going to say, pick up your arms real quick and feel the bottom of it. Are they super tight? They look cute, but if they're little at all in summertime, I got to tell you, you give me 5 minutes doing this, and I can take this off. But I've got 65-year-old arms. They are sculpted. This is how I did it.
It's painful. I tried it. I could, I felt so weak, and I hit the gym 6 days a week.
Well, you look amazing, but I'm going to share with you that I didn't tell you that I'm in the National Fitness Hall of Fame. I didn't say that this spins at 32,000, whatever. I didn't say any of those things
Right,
because it's not about this. It's about you want it.
right.
And these are the techniques that I teach. And I have to share that once people get them, it's one of my classes. By the way, we've 100x'd our business in the last 6 months.
Wow.
We exploded long before James got to me about School of Hard Knocks. We, well, we hit our vein of gold. I really keyed into one, what it means to buy ads. My partner is brilliant at that. And then doing webinars every single week. I've now practiced my personal Pitch Secrets Masterclass 600 times.
Oh my
Who
goodness.
does a webinar that many times? But I'm a big fan of that. And there's never the same. That's the other thing. And I do it live. So people are always blown away that you go live. But this is my joy. At this point in my life, people always say, Forbes, what do you want? And you know what I tell them? I want to wake up every day feeling this energized next to my beautiful husband, get the most amazing little kiss. Even if there's mascara down my face and my breath smells terrible, he tells me he loves me. And I want to keep that going because it's too much fun.
Exactly. I met both of you guys. I just love you guys and your energy and everything is just so much. When you meet somebody in person versus seeing somebody online, you wonder if they're the same person. And there's a lot of that ick, like, okay, that's like not my people. I had that energy. It's true.
Hi, people.
Not my people.
Isn't it weird? You know, when you meet someone online first, though, because I have a lot of students who come and train with me live. We do a lot of live trainings. You know the funny part? Some of them are a lot shorter or a lot taller
Yes.
than they look in a Zoom box.
Yes, and then you're like, hold on, he's so little. Oh my goodness. But it was just like a whiff of energy, when you had first walked by me and then we got chatting and connected and I had just seen you from a soap opera. I was like, I know her face from a soap opera. That was where the resemblance came. Listen, Forbes, when it comes to selling, is it good to actually lead with or let people know the results? Like I've helped, generate hundreds of $1 millions in revenue. I've helped generate millions of views organically, giving those versus or seek or lead directly with the problem. I help.
You know what's great about the formula is there's 8 steps to this. So that falls into the credibility. When and where, when you jump rope and if you jump in at the wrong time, it smacks you in the head.
Right.
So there's not one pitch fits everyone. And it's really important to understand there's no such thing as a perfect pitch. There is, however, a perfect pitcher, which is as flexible as you just said. So if I'm talking to somebody and I realize that at that moment, they're looking a little down, they're like, I don't know if she's really all that. And I'll say, well, I generated, or I'll use this phrase as someone who generated over $2.5 billion in sales. And I just let the conversation stop at that moment and watch their face. My daughter does the same thing, and I coached her to do this. She's 23 years old. She's been in business since she was 17. And when she walks into a room, she has CEO material all over her. She runs a team of 16 in one company. She runs 2 companies. And nobody believes that or takes it seriously. So I said to her, what you're going to say is you're going to say exactly what they're thinking. I look young, right? Because I am young. I also happen to make my first million at 18 on my own. My parents decided when I hit 18 that they were not going to give me anything because they weren't raised with any money either.
Right.
All of a sudden, your whole perception, she just literally told you how to reframe the thinking about her. And she's like, if you discount me, you lose. And and she'll walk away. And you're like, I take her to major meetings to meet people, and I just watch her talk, and I watch their faces go, this chick knows what she's talking about. And by the way, when you start talking about ad spend and ROAS and ROI and all those things, she's got a list of numbers. So I know that she can back that up. But when and where you do that depends on who you're talking to. I do not believe in talking to billboards. Right. Hi, I'm in the health and fitness industry. It's a $4.6 billion industry, as you may or may not. Bullshit, don't talk to me. I know it's that big an industry. Hello, right here. Do your homework. Hey, Forbes, I know that you love this industry. Are you interested in investing in this product because it fits into your niche? If you don't know that kind of material, then don't talk to me.
Right, right.
And I do think it's not just me, but I think that's an important thing for all of us to understand. How do you present to somebody?
Right. You've pitched obviously to millions of people, right? Even just on TV, it's millions. I'm going to say maybe billions in the B words. What do you think that the average entrepreneur does not understand about what it actually takes to grab attention?
They don't understand languaging at all. No, it's funny. The first word that I teach people to say, you've now said twice. Don't get mad at me. It's the word actually. Take these words out of your vocabulary. Actually, basically, like, and
And yeah.
You haven't heard me say any of those. And so if you don't say them, the problem actually is that you don't believe it. What does it actually mean to do that? Or are we actually talking to Amber? Or we're
Yeah.
just talking to Amber? And people say these filler words because there is a level of insecurity because no one ever taught you how to do this. And the craziest thing, I learned what math, by the time I got to algebra, I was done. But they want to teach you math and science and English and all these things when did they teach you how to balance your checkbook, have a great personal relationship, and how to pitch your product so somebody wants what you have? They
Right.
didn't. And so I come along and say, look, there's several things that you want to learn. And just like playing the piano, we all look at a piano, we see it. How hard can it be to play? It's just got keys, right? And there's only 8 of them and they repeat over and over again. It must be pretty easy until you put your hands on it the first time and you're like, how do you make music on this thing? Well, that's how I feel about language. We learn the alphabet and letters and, probably how to write. But when do we learn what we're communicating with? So when I say a certain word, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to do a little thing about languaging. So I said to you earlier, do you want to see something cool? And you said?
And I said yes.
I knew you. In fact, I not only knew you were going to say yes, I have a little thing here because I know when people are going to say yes. I guess I knew you were going to say yes. The next I'm going to say to you, so Amber, give me your thumbs. See, if I stopped talking, you gave me your thumbs. Amber, why did you do that?
Because you asked me.
Right. See, I can't touch you. I can't even put it on your thumbs, but you did it because that's called an embedded command, and you did it. So it's like, wait a second, I have that kind of power with just words? Yes, you do. And this is why I encourage you to come train with me. By the way, my class is free on Sunday. So I'm not
Okay, so
selling anything here.
tell people this is. I mean, I could go on. I could list off questions and just have you. I love having people like this on here because I know I'm like the sales queen. What else can I ask her? How's she going to make me master my pitch? And I'm going to go create some more ads.
Oh, I want to talk more. I get it. I'm loving this.
Oh my goodness.
So
Where do people find you? How do they work with you, Forbes?
Well, first of all, it is free to come to my first class. And I do that and I am live, which is people are blown away by that. But I'm not in this business like other people you see online. I'm not here scraping for dollars or going, I have to prove something. I already did all that with the first 40 years of my life. My birthday's next month. I turn 66.
Woo!
And so I know, right? So now it is all about legacy.
26.
Keep going. Gosh,
I love it. I love it.
One of my students did that last night. Okay, I have to remember this. He said, you got the smile of a 20-year-old, the skin of a 30-year-old, the hair of a 40-year-old, the attitude of a 50-year-old, and the wisdom of a 100-year-old. I'm like,
oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh, it was so beautifully the way
that
he
should
said
be
it. I'm
quoted on a picture for you. Like,
yes.
Literally. Yes.
That's I was absolutely blown away by the beautifulness of that. I'm loving this point in my life, but it took a lot to get here. What I do for people now is I compress time. So on Sunday at 5 o'clock East Coast time, it's called pitchsecretstraining.com, and it's free. And it is free because I didn't grow up with money. My dad tried so hard. He was a mechanic, but he slipped. He had a horrible accident when I was 15 years old, spent 3 years in the hospital. And then I started to live this fairy tale life. And I have to itch. I can't wait to share this with the world because can you imagine, just picture this, a 15-year-old girl in her dad's hospital room. He had the corner room for years. He had one operation that they tied his whole body together for 42 days so his underarm would grow onto his palm. I mean, I learned more about science than I ever wanted to know. But what I noticed was that his room overlooked the only mansion in my hometown. And I used to dream, and this is what manifesting comes to, and I call it Forbesing it. What have you Forbes lately? I wanted to know what those guys, what was their Halloween candy, full-size candy bars? Did they had 2 chimneys? We didn't have any chimney. I had a Santa Claus coming to my house. And I would think about that. I ended up working for a billionaire when I got out of college. And I've always lived a certain lifestyle because I believed if they could do it, we could too.
Right.
But there I am in this hospital room. My braces had just come off, but my nose was broken and my hair was frizzy and I was overweight and I was not very attractive. And you can see the pictures online. And my mom says, kiddo, the only thing I wanted was we're broke. We have no money for college and you have no scholarship. And I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to do something to save my family. It was horrible. And she did say, well, there's the Miss Teenage America pageant, like on television with Bob Hope on NBC is coming to our town to find local Miss Teenage New York. She looked at my face and said, well, that's not going to work for us. And if you're a girl listening and you're anything like me, I just wanted to be pretty. I was so not pretty. And it was really heartbreaking. And if Marsha Brady was pretty, not unlike you, with beautiful blonde hair parted down the middle, I parted my hair down the middle. I look like a triangle from the back. That's how crazy my hair was. And my dad's doctor, God bless him, looked at my mom and said, I'm going to fix your daughter's nose for free, just because you guys have been through so much.
Oh my
and I
God.
woke up a couple of days later And all of a sudden, my eyes looked bigger. And I hadn't eaten for a couple of days, and my face looked a little thinner. And I looked at that little girl, I was 15 and a half, and I said, we're going to enter this stupid pageant. And we're going to win because we're going to save our family. I got a powder blue hand-me-down bridesmaid's dress, and I won. And I got all the way to the nationals, and I was on TV with Bob Hope, and it's on YouTube. I just found it from 1977.
Oh my gosh.
But so I said, Amber, this funny thing about a magical life. This just happened 3 days ago. I starred in a movie last year. It's an action-packed Western. And I look completely different. My hair is all Westerny in my outfits, and I'm the bad girl in it, so I'm not very nice. My name is different because I've been married since I was in high school. And get this, YouTube, on Facebook, this guy writes, hey, I just watched you in the movie Black Creek. I think you signed my autograph book back in 1977 in the Miss Teenage America pageant. I was one of the boy escorts. And he
Oh,
shows me a picture of this. I'm like, how the heck did you know it was me? And he's like, it was your smile. And I started crying. I'm like, that's like a bending time that he would have 50 freaking years ago. This
seriously, to
little boy
remember.
saved this and then sought to share it with me.
Oh my
And I
goodness.
don't know if all of you believe. And here's the crazy thing. I don't really care what you believe in. I'm going to tell you that look for signs in your life, whether it's the number of the house you grew up on or your phone number or your favorite number. And I promise you, there's little signposts that just go, you're doing it. You're on the right. Just keep going. I've seen them, and I could list out 100, including the fact that my children, my boy and girl twins, they were made in a test tube on a random day because I was so busy traveling. And
So
when
were
I
mine.
yeah, and when
Yeah.
the doctor called you in to say, okay, he said you're not only pregnant, you're very pregnant. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, you're pregnant with twins. This is the crazy part. I just lost my parents, both of them, the year before. He said, your kids are conceived on March 20th, which is my mother's birthday, the first year she wasn't
Oh
here.
my gosh.
And they're due on December 7th, which is my father's birthday.
Wow.
I didn't need
Like if
anything
that's
else.
not a sign, like what, you know what I mean? You
That's
have
a
to
one in
believe
a
in,
billion
yeah,
chance.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
remember thinking, and I was 42 years old when I pushed out two 7-pound healthy twins who are now my business partners and my best friends. And somebody said, Did are they your parents? I said, no, no, my parents are watching us, making sure everything's good. And I think if you believe like this, that life is this magical, then it becomes that magical, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think it's really important for people to they get so caught up in the manifestation of I need to manifest something, but the only way of manifesting it is having that strong belief over and over again, and knowing that if you put in the work, if you continue to do, the universe is watching, and it will result in action. Something will actually happen. And I'm a true believer in that, but I'm also a huge believer in signs. I was going through a huge transition before we moved to Miami, and then came back, and even with the business and everything that was going on. And my daughter was with a babysitter for a couple of hours, and she said that she put a bead up her nose. So I googled it. It's no emergency. It's just a little bead, right? But they said she'll have to do a surgery. We'll have to put her to sleep to take it out, and she needed ear tubes. So I said, well, I'd rather do both at the same time. If she needs ear tubes, we'll take that out. We'll only put her to sleep once. She was 3. We woke up in the morning because she had to fast. It turned out she had a button battery up in her nose and slept with it. So it caused a chemical burn so bad in her nasal passageway. I mean, I was lucky that she was still alive when I woke up next to her. So it
Oh,
gave me like severe like PTSD. I mean, I slept with her till she's almost 7. I'm still sleeping with her. It causes that. But I always look for signs. And there was this one sign before we had moved to Miami. We were transitioning and big things were happening. And a tiny little bird was dead on my doorstep. And when I opened the door, all these nasty feathers blew all over me, Forbes. It was
oh,
disgusting.
wow.
I wanted to throw up. I messaged my husband. I was like, "Is this me? Like I'm dying? Like what's gonna happen? Like a dead bird all the feathers? Like what? This is trauma. Like something big is happening." And he's a huge believer in manifesting and abundance, and he brings a lot of that energy. He can see things before it even happens. And he said, Amber, he was like, that's because like the old you needed to die in order for the new version of you to be born. And since then, when you were saying about not being like the pretty girl, I was the ugliest little, teeny bopper kid covered in freckles, buck tooth, two big buck teeth. The only reason they're like this is because they're crowns. And I had a mushroom cut because my mom gave it to me. I mean, I'm talking a buzz cut from the back, and you know what I mean? And then it was like a mushroom with a comb over. And then I had moved here and I started working with clients, and just happened to be that one of my amazing clients is a hair extension expert, like the OG. I'm like, give me some of that. And it's funny, it changed everything. I'm so big on personal appearance and how you look and how you feel, because I've worked with clients who have built millions of dollars and grew their business in a bathrobe because she had 3 kids. I'm like, that's cute, but really you want to be on stage in a fucking bathrobe? Like, what are you trying to prove? You know what I mean? Like,
somebody probably should, though. Maybe we'll do the bathrobe slipper party where we all end up on stage in our favorite. And I've not done that one. That'd be funny.
Right. Yeah. You got to show up as the best version of yourself. I believe that for people to, to look at you, to take you seriously, to want to do business with you, versus showing up as, the half-assed self or your half awake self. And
you know what? Not everybody, you see, but Ember, that's why you're in business. That's why you look the way you do. And I do as well. You got a message somewhere along the line. And for those of you who are listening, if you're wondering if you are of that, somebody said to me many, many, many years ago, and I still hear, so funny what you remember. They said to me, they looked at me and said, "Oh, you'll never be world class." And at that moment, I was anything but. And I remember thinking, what the hell does it mean to be world class? And how do you get that? And I went on a mission for a very long time to understand what does it mean to be world class. I did my research on, put pictures of people up on walls. And I'm like, all right, I want to look like them. I want to be like that. I could live here. And there was no branding teachers. There was no anyone to help explain that. But I've been on a path my whole life. And then I met many, many people at the top of their game. And I deduced what I liked, and I also didn't keep what I didn't like. And that was the attitude I saw of a lot of people who were given money or who didn't have to work for it, which is why I think I still show up for people, because what else do I need to do? I don't need to work anymore. And so it's not about the money. It depends people, then why do you charge? I said, because you value something for what you invest in it. If I have 2 watches, if I have just 2 face watches, one's a Swatch and one's a Rolex, I pay $14 for this, I pay $14,000 for this one. This one goes in the vault, this one can sit on the desk. Because right. Not because it's any less valuable, it tells time, but it's what you invest in it. So I also teach that to people to find this sense of self-esteem. And finally, something, Amber, that I don't share very often, but I get that you're on that same pathway and the people you attract must be there as well. But if you keep letting your future being written from your past, it's not going to be a good story. And so I spend a fair amount of time with all my students. We clean up the closet in the back, because if you're like me, I am neat but messy. I'm a zodiac of a Taurus, so I like to go in and mess things up, but I love the neatness. So when I had an apartment in New York City, I would live my life. My parents would come over and I would shove everything in the closet, and then everything would be fine. And I left it there because I got busy and forgot it. Next time somebody came over, I shoved more. At some point, the closet was like bursting at the seams.
Open.
Well, that's what happens if you're passive. You keep shoving it down. At some point, it does burst open and burst forward, whether it's depression or confusion or anger or frustration, procrastination, sabotage. That could have come from something your mom or dad said that they didn't even realize. One of my clients, she's a beautiful woman, came to me, and she loves music, but she had not done any of it since she was 16 because her mom confessed to her, she was a Mormon, that she was a happy accident. She was the 11th child. And then she started carrying this burden of, I'm an accident, my parents don't want me, I'm not worthy. We removed that horrible coat from her back. She's now songwriting and publishing and living her best life. And I continually get that. And thank you, Forbes Riley, for doing that for me. Right. So for all of you listening, is there something in your closet that if it was truly removed, given away to Goodwill, or thrown away forever, would allow you to be freer in this world because you're not carrying the burden of your past?
I'm going to leave it with that, because that is so powerful, Forbes. And I think that so many people carry all of that. Maybe they call it excuses, and that's what holds them back from being greater. I love having conversations and talking to people about fear, about having ceilings, putting ceilings on themselves. I'm capped right here. This is what I can do. Or I live in a small town, so this is my capabilities. And I'm always like, fuck that fear, put it down, go after, put the energy.
Fuck that fear is going to be over here. Fuck that fear.
FTF.
I love that. All right, next time you and I see each other, FTF.
FTF Forbes. Oh my goodness. But it's true. And I love, anything that I can do to share a message. I've had the privilege of working with some high level, high producing entrepreneurs and founders, and connecting with you over the years, and being able to connect again and have people on my show so that I can bring you into my network, and have your knowledge be shared to the people that are listening in and working with us. It's such a privilege and such an honor. And for you guys who are doubting yourselves, you don't know how to pitch, you don't know how to have the confidence in your sales, in how to talk in the messaging. Clearly, I need to tighten up my messaging too. It's Pitch Secrets A to Z. Is it out now officially?
It is out tomorrow.
It comes out. Oh, it'll be out by the time this podcast airs.
Well, so here's what you want to do. You want to go, and I don't normally say this. You can always go to mynameforbesriley.com, but Pitch Secrets book will get you an invite to this exclusive only party that we're doing. So if you're seeing this after May 16th, that party won't exist, but the book will, and all the fun things in it. And I cannot wait to get down to Orange County and give you a big hug. This was so beautiful.
Me too.
Thank you.
Yes, we need to connect. Thank you so much. I know how busy you are, and I just appreciate you so much for taking the time to be on my show. You guys, make sure that you reach out to Dr. Forbes Riley. She's on social media, ForbesRiley.com. Make sure that you get a copy of her book. And until next time, we'll take you on another episode of Behind the Boom with Amber. Bye.
Love that.